For a while now, it's been slowly dawning on me that Halo might not be what it used to. If you've been out of the loop, or Halo so to speak, you should know that with developments such as the Master Chief Collection no longer receiving support, rumours about a new Halo sequel in development, and the god-awful second season of Paramount's TV series just around the corner, it's become increasingly uncertain as to what the future might hold for the Halo franchise. Now I can only imagine that if you clicked on this video, you're probably like me, a Halo fan who spent literal years of their life enjoying everything this game has to offer. Today, I'm taking those countless hours sunk into Halo's memorable campaigns and infectious PvP modes, and culminating all that experience into this one video. A video that's going to examine the franchise in recent years, as well as get into my personal thoughts and feelings about it, which come from a place of both dejected disappointment, as well as excited relief. So, let's finish the fight. In the beginning, there was Halo, this renowned first-person shooter, a staple franchise in the video game industry that paved way for montage-worthy clips, created legendary cinematic moments, and forged late-night LAN party memories to last a lifetime. And now there's... what the f*** has this become? What's happening right now?
What am I watching, dude?
So before I dig into the current state of this iconic IP and everything that's led up to it in recent years, I want to tell you a quick story and give you a sense on why I'm making this video in the first place. Well, as I've said before in a previous video praising video games as art, I used to play a ton of couch co-op with my dad. Halo was a vital cornerstone of my childhood, having spent hours either shooting the in Firefight or replaying our favourite campaign stories. And then this happened.
If you thought split-screen multiplayer was dying, 343 Industries might have just hammered the final nail in the couch co-op coffin. The next game in the Halo series, a series known for its split-screen multiplayer, will not have any split screen.
NASA mission manager.
You think he means it like... Are you kidding me?
What a blow. To have such a well-established feature ripped from the franchise after what was at that point almost 15 years was to say the least. Then, what made it all the worse is when 343 promised multiple times that they would deliver split-screen co-op in its upcoming sequel, Halo Infinite. And guess what?
We have had to make the difficult decision not to ship campaign split-screen co-op.
They pulled the rug out from under the community and actually got away with it. I can almost guarantee you if 343 had revealed this news at Infinite's launch, there would have been outrage. But as far as I can tell, there was no significant outcry from the community about it in comparison to Halo 5's reception. If anything, this delayed drip feed led to more of a slow realization, and even defeated acceptance, that Halo Infinite was destined to follow in the faded footsteps of its co-op deprived predecessor. And just to state for the record, I'm no game dev, and I have nothing but respect for the people behind all the hard work that goes into what makes this industry incredible. But the fact that 343's relatively new game engine couldn't compensate for split screen is so bizarre to me. As a fan, my main takeaway was the fact that this game had been capable of this feature for well over a decade, and now, despite all our ever-increasing technological advances, it just wasn't anymore. To simply put it, what the f***? So like Cortana and Chief deliberating whether or not he was more of the machine than her, without my co-op partner, I'm left to wonder the same thing about myself. I can grapple wherever I want, fly across the map in a single bound, even sit around and listen to the hilarious dialogue from the propaganda towers that has no right to be this funny.
Wait, okay? Just wait for a sec. Because if you take all these towers out, I'm out of a job.
But what's the point of all that if I can't share these experiences with one of my best friends anymore? Now I know people don't have to like or even make use of this feature, but for many people it meant something. And yes, I'm clearly biased, but couch co-op is a format staple. It's been there since day one, In my opinion, that makes it one of the fundamental pillars of Halo. Imagine if Halo didn't have multiplayer anymore. What would Halo be without Forge Mode? What if Halo didn't have the iconic music that's associated with it? So what happens when you ignore some of the basic foundations of a gaming IP when you're trying to build something new atop its glass remains? Like many gamers, I don't know what the f I'm talking about. I don't understand the complex processes behind coding and programming. I'm not familiar with how character models are rigged, and I'm even sometimes guilty of overlooking the beautifully rendered environments. But there is one very impactful thing I started paying attention to once Halo started to plateau in my eyes. 343 Industries, the current game studio upholding the Mantle of Responsibility, is a Microsoft-owned company.
So what's the big fucking deal?
Well, just as a contextual side note, what this means is that studios under corporate umbrellas like these aren't necessarily beholden to individual game sales, release deadlines, and even us the fans as much as other video game developers. At the end of the day, 343 can release the next Halo game whenever they please, and that's because they're ultimately subsidized by Phil Spencer. I mean Xbox Game Pass.
Fuck Microsoft!
On the one hand, it's truly a game changer for game devs to now have more financial and hopefully job security, especially when sudden yet calculated layoffs are a norm in the industry. However, what can end up happening in terms of the production pipeline is we get another Halo Infinite. For reference, Halo 5 Guardians took roughly 3 years to produce, which isn't abnormal by any means. But Halo Infinite, the franchise's latest game in the series, finally released 6 whole years after this.
Hey pal, how long have I been out?
Do we have to wait another 6 years before we go back to Vice City again? I mean the Ark? Or Zeta? Which installation are we on again? But you know what? Credit where it's due. Infinite was pretty fun, and certainly unexpected. The now open world game boasted a fresh take on the linear FPS franchise, in a similar way to what Gears of War had done with its last installment. And yet, as a fan who was at that point starved of mainline Halo content for over half a decade, I eventually took off my rose-tinted helmet visor and realized something. Not much had improved. Actually, even after 343 delayed the game's initial launch to ensure it was up to snuff, there were even more basic fundamentals that were missing. Forge mode was gone now too, technical issues plagued the game, and the multiplayer progression system didn't really let you, well, progress. Thankfully, these are all things that 343 have addressed and are doing their best to stay on top of, which the fanbase, myself included, are grateful for, even in our own sometimes cynical way. But I'm left to wonder why the people responsible for Halo's current state, and more importantly its future, are consistently taking one step forward, only to go 2 steps back again. Not including a lasso achievement for Halo 5 is strange, unnecessary, and comes across as straight up apathetic. And not wanting to initially bring back the voice of Halo himself, Jeff Steitzer, for Halo Infinite is such a poor decision.
Unfreaking believable.
These are little things that seem trivial to big corporations like Microsoft and 343, and maybe even to some players, but they aren't. Again, I'm not a game dev, but I am a fan of Halo, and I don't know if that means I'm entitled to have some ownership of this franchise or not, but like most people who are passionate about the things they enjoy, I do feel like I have a stake in this. So as a human who has a right to reclaim the Mantle of Responsibility, I say that even though it's perfectly acceptable for Halo to change with the times, as all things should, and allow 343 to stretch their creative wings, there are essential elements of a game that should never be messed with. One in particular. No, it's not just you. The main crux of the issue that many players have clocked onto for a while now is this.
I killed him! I did it off screen!
Damn it, Morty.
Integral plot points are relegated to external media. Want to know more about Jugalam Dharma and that forgotten Forerunner plot device key in Spartanox? Read this trilogy of books. Curious about what happened with Cortana's AI revolution after the events of Halo 5? Feel free to listen to Infinite's optional in-game audio logs and occasional cutscenes to catch some short snippets. Who's this Atriox guy that may or may not have died? Well, you, the FPS player, needed to start playing this completely different game subgenre for needed backstory.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Alright, enough. Look, My point is, nobody should be forced to go out of their way to consume other media just so they can have a basic understanding of the other. Books, comics, even other subgenres within the medium shouldn't replace or redirect players from the main story. Supplementary media should exist to support and enhance it, period. Otherwise you get what we have now, an empty experience where the player is left watching and picking up after events that already took place, wishing you could have been there. Chronologically speaking, Bungie's great journey may have ended at 3, but the beginning of 343's Reclaimer trilogy was a well-written and engaging story, one that not only brought out the humanity in Chief, but had us break our promise to a dying Cortana. A beloved character whose once witty, sympathetic nature would be brought back to life, only to be reduced into a cliched Skynet trope and given a poor off-screen redemption arc. Evidently, narrative missteps building off a great start would reveal in my eyes that 343, much like the MCU post-Endgame, had no storyline plan or structure set in place for what happens after Bungie neatly concluded the Human Covenant War. Only an insatiable ambition to set themselves apart from their forerunners and put their mark on an already respected franchise.
Is the Master Chief a traitor? Is he gonna die? Who's this dude that just shot him? What are you talking about? He didn't shoot him. The Master Chief was gonna shoot him. Like, what? What are you guys doing to Halo? That's the point. That's the point.
So what's next? Well, in regards to the Paramount TV show, no. Just no. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole any more than YouTube already has. Instead, I want to end things on a high note and start looking at this genre-defining sci-fi epic from a different perspective. As of me writing this video, it seems that Halo Infinite has improved significantly since launch. Forge and Firefight are finally back, 343 are adding new weapons and equipment, and they even seem to be listening to the community in regards to multiplayer content and technical bugs. I haven't picked up the game since I first beat the campaign, but it comes across that the general direction with which Halo is moving in is being well received by the player base, old and returning. Those Halo loyalists who endured all the disappointments are even going as far to say we're in a new golden era of Halo. I'm not sure I'd go as far to say that, but I did come across something that, to my disbelief, changed my outlook on 343 Industries. To make a long story short, not that long ago I watched a GDQ speedrun of Infinite, and during it, I kept on hearing the same thing over and over and over again.
We also have $50 from Chris. Much love and support from us at 343. You guys are awesome.
343 devs kept showing up and couldn't express their love for their game enough. With all the substandard decisions they made since inheriting the mantle from Bungie, and 343's involvement with the TV show, it honestly gave me the impression that they just didn't care. But this is proof of the complete opposite. Some of them do care about the game. It's a hard pill for you to swallow, I'm sure, but much like how Bungie execs recently laid off OG employees for the most capitalist reasons possible, it shouldn't be hard to believe that all of the franchise's problems more than likely comes down to poor decisions and bad direction from 343's upper management, not the passionate level designers, sound engineers, and all the individual cogs that make up the machine, but the people whose priority it is to grease the wheels of 343 Industries. It doesn't excuse the mistakes of the past, but regardless, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong, even if only potentially, about some of the current stewards of a franchise I've loved for years. Having played and experienced Halo since the beginning, I've been criticizing this series from a specific lens, which is why you should take all that I've said with a pinch of salt. I felt personally robbed of what I felt to be the core Halo experience, and I reiterate that things should evolve and change. I only argue that a franchise as great as Halo shouldn't stray too far from what makes Halo, well, Halo. I think I'll go back to Infinite to check out this so-called Halo Renaissance, but I'm not sure if it'll stop me from missing what was. And with the second season of the Halo TV series around the corner, I'm not sure if I'm ready to be disappointed again. But I'll watch it. And you know why? Because I'm a Halo fan, and I always will be. I'm also genuinely curious to ask, do you think I'm wrong to think the core Halo experience isn't what it used to be? Has Halo peaked, or is it just catching its second wind? Either way, I'll see you on the next Halo, Spartan.